Okay. We've talked about all these good things, and normally we just kind of leave it alone and move on when we have a bad experience. But we want to give an actual review for one that we had a terrible time at.
Yeah, I think it's worthy of mentioning that just because we had this bad experience doesn't mean necessarily that it is a place that you should never go to.
Right.
It's just our opinion.
Right. Part of it is our preferences. Mm-hmm. But we feel like we went to a Mexican-themed Chucky Cheese.
Really? Yeah.
It was that chaotic.
It was absolute chaos.
And it was just craziness. And I want to say a good thing first.
Okay. Say the good things.
The decor was really incredible. And it
was
made me
amazing.
think of going to restaurants in Disney or Universal.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Floor to ceiling decor. It was really incredible.
Sensory overload.
Yes.
It was sensory overload.
That being said, that's my only good thing I can say.
Okay, if you ever asked me what sort of food I enjoy the most, I mean, as opposed to you got Chinese and you got Mexican, what is the one I always say?
You like Mexican.
Hands down. Every single time. If ever asked, it's like I want to go eat Mexican. Yours is Chinese.
I love Chinese food. If it's at my one place, China Walk in Springfield, it's my favorite.
China Walk, visit it. It's worth it.
It's a little hole in the wall, which you know how we feel about hole in the walls. But
their orange chicken is awesome, and so is their general chicken. Oh my goodness.
Okay, back on topic, though.
I'm sorry. We're talking about Casa Bonita in Denver, Colorado.
Right, and guys, if you hear this and you're offended, fix it. Because seriously, it was a rough experience. First of all, we walked in and we were in line. And we were like, oh, okay, it's probably just opening. As we got up closer, we see this guy at a podium at the far end of the line.
We didn't know. We've never.
And we're totally confused.
Yeah, you know what it kind of reminds me of? Sort of like Golden Corral or something similar to it, but quite different.
It still reminds me of going to Universal or Disney.
Yeah.
And trying to get food. But they didn't do it well.
Right.
We had to go up to the guy at the podium.
Right.
And order our food.
And after following a maze in through the entire building.
Nobody back through there to explain what was going to happen.
Yeah.
So we hadn't even looked at the menu yet.
No signs.
So we're like, we're sorry, and felt terrible. And we look on there and there's no senior prices or anything. And we ask him about senior price and he goes, well, they can buy off the kids menu too. That's all we have.
Yeah, he was very blunt and rude.
And when we asked questions, he was very short with us. He was very unfriendly.
Okay, and with that being said, I agree that he was very unfriendly and everything. But I can even look past that because that's one person.
Right, that's one person.
That's one person. He may be having a bad day.
After we get through the line, though, then we're in a new line to get food.
Right.
Winding through. Yep. You're up there and you see food sitting out all over the place and they're checking receipts.
Under heat lamps.
Right. And they check food and they hand you what you ordered.
Right. Already pre-made.
Keep in mind, now we're carrying trays of food.
Right.
We're serving ourselves. And I was like, hey, this is no big deal.
Yeah.
Now we go pick a table.
I feel sorry for anybody who is incapable of carrying their plates because...
And I wasn't that worried at first because I thought we'll just run to a table real quick. Exactly. But I do have a torn tendon in my shoulder. It's a small tear, so it's not something to go repair or anything, but it can be quite painful. Well, then we go and we stand in another line.
On an incline, too.
On an incline, holding our trays of food, waiting for our turn for them to find us a table.
Right.
I'm at that point going, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
But if we go sit down and our food's good, I'm good.
Right.
Okay, it may be picking up our dog snoring. This is hilarious.
Can you hear that? I'm going to keep it in there.
I hope he can hear it.
I do too.
He's really exhausted after us being gone.
He's really snoring hard.
He's snoring really hard. But after they finally started to get us seated, the girl just looked around, and you could tell she didn't think we were going to say it. And she goes, does anybody need help carrying their tray?
Finally, someone says, hey.
And I said, I do. I have a shoulder
Yeah, you're about
problem.
to lose it.
Yeah, I was starting to struggle with how I positioned my
and
tray.
I couldn't help you.
Because you were holding your tray.
Yeah.
So she did grab my tray, and then they took us to a table. And we were crammed in a little table, all 6 of us.
Yeah.
I mean, tight. We're elbow to elbow. And we look over, and Mama Charlie's food is on a little plastic plate, tiniest portions you've ever seen.
Yeah.
And instead of being hot, it's room temperature.
Right.
Because it was from the kids' menu.
Right.
So they're, like we said, the ones that always get the bad end of the deal.
Yeah. And the thing is okay, the size and the portions you get for the amount of money that you spend, I thought was a little much. I mean, we paid $14, $15 a plate or something like that.
At least, yeah.
And I'm like, why am I was like, for that amount of money, I would think that we would actually get some more food than that. But
yes.
Olivia pointed out, it's like, well, you get the dinner and the show.
Yeah, that's a whole different thing. Let's finish the food part. The food was just
mediocre.
par. It was not. I can't brag on it.
I can't brag on it either.
We ate it because we were hungry.
Yeah.
And we paid it.
It was raining outside at the time. We just got done panning for gold, and which is another thing we're going to bring up later in another episode.
But the food was not good. And when you have all 6 people say that was not good, then the food was not good.
It was not good. And you know what? I have to brag on the girls because everyone like, hey, it's okay, trying to look on the positive because they could see that I was getting angry.
And trying to offer money too because they realized how expensive it was. Mm-hmm. And they were so great. I have to say they were wonderful.
No, tell them about the part of the bad experience for your mother.
Okay. It wasn't,
I mean, the food was warm, room temperature for one.
Keep in mind, the rude guy at the beginning.
Yeah.
Their limited menu.
Yeah. And the amount they were paying.
And it was expensive for what they got.
Yeah.
Their portions were lousy. Their food was cold. She opens her silverware. And there was a dirty fork. Now, it wasn't smeared. There were chunks on it. Mm-hmm. It was clearly dirty. So they have this little flag system. You raise your flag
at the table.
It just sits on the table. You raise your flag to the top of the little pole. Your server sees it and they come and help you. She finally came. Mm-hmm. It was very busy. She shows her, she goes, oh, I'm so sorry. Hands her another thing of silverware and just takes off. She doesn't wait to see if everything's okay. Mm-hmm. She doesn't do anything. She takes off. My mom opens her silverware and it's a dirty fork again.
Again, strike 2.
With chunks on it.
Yep.
So we raise the flag again. She comes over again, says, oh my goodness, I can't believe this. I'm so sorry. She hands her a new pack and takes off again.
Yep.
She opens her silverware and there were chunks on her fork.
Strike 3.
We raise the flag again. Mm-hmm. She comes over. We tell her and she was like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. And she leaves and she goes and gets her silverware and she stood there finally on 4th try and watched her open it to make sure it was clean.
Right.
Never offered to try to do anything to rectify the situation. It was a mess.
Yeah.
It was a mess.
There was no like, okay, we're sorry, we're embarrassed this happened, it shouldn't have happened. We will take X amount off your bill because of it. I mean, that was like 3 tries.
Right. Frankly, I mean, at this point, not the whole table necessarily, but I would have offered her meal free.
I agree.
If I were management, and I have been in charge in some places that I've worked, I would have given her meal free.
Yeah.
It was a ridiculous experience.
It was really deplorable.
We
I don't
call
know
it
any other word to say. It's just deplorable.
We call it a Mexican themed Chucky Cheese because there was a game area, there was souvenirs you could buy, there was little tunnel type things you could walk through.
Yeah.
And then there was a show that went on, and it was very little kid oriented, very loud, but you couldn't understand what they were saying unless you were up close.
The audio, you couldn't hear anything that they were saying. They had this big pool with a waterfall, and the characters would interact, which we couldn't understand the story or what was going on, and the one of the characters would fall into it, hazardly, fell into the pool. And this one hunter guy would run after this ape that was running around between the tables and stuff like that.
We did not have a good experience with it.
It didn't make any sense to me.
Maybe if you were sitting in a better spot and had small children, maybe it would have been better. But flat out, the food wasn't good.
That right there. Okay, service was horrid.
Yeah.
The food was below subpar.
Yeah, it was not good.
It was not good, and it ruined me for Mexican food for I don't know how long. I mean, I saw Mexican food signs from since then, and I'm like, I don't even want to look at anything Mexican right now.
It made us just tense up even. It's so frustrating. Steve usually can really kind of blow things off and move on. He was still angry after we left, after paying that much for our food. It was worse than when we went to Margaritaville and Myrtle Beach, because we were disappointed with the amount we spent there.
At least Margaritaville, you can say, the atmosphere.
The service was good, too.
The service was good. The atmosphere, that was amazing atmosphere, but the food was not that good.
No.
It was, Casa Bonita, the food was below not good.
And you didn't get served.
And you didn't get served.
I mean, you
and
had
then
to
they
take
were
care
expecting
of yourself.
a tip.
Yeah, and it was just not...
It
was an ugly situation.
Whoever thought of this business model is screwy.
That being said, these are our preferences.
Opinions and preferences, yes.
So, do with that information what you like.
Yeah, we're probably going to get some hate mail for that one.
We could.
We'll bring them to you and tell you what they say. Hi, I'm Steve.
And I'm Sandy, and we host the podcast Two Tenderfoot Tourists.
Two Tenderfoot Tourists is a travel podcast where you can explore, learn, and grow with us in the joys of travel.
Yep, we've already covered all sorts of topics on Two Tenderfoot Tourists, such as our adventures with bed bugs, and how we've managed to avoid bringing them home for the past 11 years.
Also, vacation insurance do's and don'ts, and we didn't know that.
How about how lost hotel reservation nightmares can turn into the best vacation ever.
The best bizarre roadside attractions, everything from the Museum of Human Hair in Independence, Missouri,
to the House on the Rock filled with strange oddities in Spring Green, Wisconsin.
Or even confessions of a former TSA agent.
Hilarious.
Super hilarious.
And the one about romantic destinations.
Hello, baby. Join us as we explore fun and sometimes forgotten destinations.
And learn about both the crazy and the practical to truly enjoy your vacation.
Two Tenderfoot Tourists can be found on iTunes or anywhere else podcasts are available. And be sure to like and share with your friends.